Good morning to all of you. My name is Edwin Willems. I'm here in the virtual room together with Jean-Francois Dirks. And we're going to talk to you the next 30 to 45 minutes about Qlik Catalog, which helps your data out of lockdown. So first, a couple of practical arrangements. When you logged onto the screen, you should see a panel, questions. If you have any questions during the presentation or after, don't hesitate to submit them anytime in the question panel, and then we will handle them at the end of the presentation. Unless they are related um, to sound, then we, of course, will immediately act if that would be the case. So let me first introduce Agelos, why we do this, and how it fits within our overall strategy. Jean-Francois, thank you. So the mantra of Agelos is really to help you turn data into a strategic asset. So we help you getting insights, leveraging data, combining it from several sources, putting it into perspective, so it can help you become more competitive, to optimize processes, to generate new revenues, to get a better view on your customer, and so on. And to do that, basically, we do have a team of experts in business intelligence. That's what we do, data integration and data analytics. So on the technology side, we have data integration technology. We have technology that helps you create modern data warehouses, and technology for visualization and analytics. Next to that, we offer services, training, support, consulting to help you basically implement. We offer analytic solutions. We have business solutions for specific sectors in the industry, but we've also technology solutions like our Brain Cloud, which is a fully managed BI cloud. If you say, I have an analytics environment, I don't want to manage it myself, we can completely manage that for you. So it's a completely managed cloud um, based on Azure. We have other technologies such as Transferelios, which offers you secure hybrid data transfer, again, within your analytics environments. And last but not least, we do projects from A to Z. So we help you really in leveraging the data and turn it into a strategic asset in your company. So let us look at uh, these are a couple of our customers. And as you see, they are broad in terms of both size of customers. We have medium-sized companies. We have very large ones, but also various industries. So going from financial services, industry, healthcare, over to government and services. So we have a very broad expertise in a very diverse, heterogeneous environment. So let's have a quick look at the complete data supply chain. And we would like to divide it into three areas. The first one is about data, what you see on the left. And that is really about getting your data from your sources, which may be ERP systems, CRM, it may be spreadsheets, and so on, getting your data and making it ready for analytics. It includes also data preparation, it includes replication technology. It includes technology to help you set up data warehousing and so on. The second part, as soon as you've been able to set up your data and make it ready for analytics, is really the analytics part. So this is about data visualization, about dashboarding, about reporting, about predictive analytics, and so on. And then the third component is really delivering the insight towards the end users. That may be in the form of a dashboard or reports, but it can also be embedding the analytics in some of your other systems, such as in an ERP or CRM system, or within a website, an internal website of your company, or within an extranet, where you provide analytics through an extranet through the web, for instance, towards your customers or citizens. The products that you can map, so this is the different area. Well, let's start with the analytics part. There we have the two core products around which we have expertise is Qlik, with products such as Qlik Sense, but also Microsoft Power BI. In the area of data integration, there we have several products. A couple of them are offered by Qlik, such as Attunity, which is an acquisition that Qlik did a while ago and offers now Attunity, which is now renamed to Qlik Replicate and Qlik Compose. In the area of data ops catalog, the product is called Qlik Catalog, and that is what today's webinar is about. There are other products such as Time Extender, which help you set up a data warehouse, is really in the domain of data warehouse automation. Something I would like to mention as well is basically the expertise required for doing all these tools. And for instance, in the case of Qlik, we are an elite solution provider, but also for the data integration technology, such as Qlik Replicate and Qlik Catalog, Qlik requires explicit certification. So we have been, we had to train several people in depth, do exams, do official certification to be officially certified for the Qlik data integration part. I think it's very important that we emphasize that, because it's a product to support that you need the required skills. And this, by the way, this is one of the first webinars in Europe where we are featuring, or where Qlik is featuring in public Qlik Catalog. So certification is really important. And with that, I would like to hand over the word to Jean-François. So Jean-François, I will make you a presenter, and I will unmute your microphone.
Yes, thank you very much, Edwin. Good morning, everyone.
Jean-François, before I finally give over to you, something I would like to mention as well is that Qlik Catalog is a product that can work independently from Qlik as an analytics tool. So today we will talk specifically about Qlik Catalog for Qlik users. So if you have, for instance, a Qlik Sense environment, but Qlik Catalog can also function if you have other analytics tools such as Power BI or Tableau. So that is something that is important to mention as well. So Jean-François.
Thank you very much. So to understand clearly what we are talking about, I'd like to start with a simple comparison that we also used when we discussed about this specific webinar. And the comparison is with a library. You have an image here of a library in which you have thousands of books. And of course, if you want to find a specific book or find information about a specific subject, well, how do you find that in such a mass of books? And well, the answer is quite easy. What you do is, if you see on this picture, you see that there is a small place there where you can consult a catalog. And usually it's the first place where you go sit and in order to find your information. You search through the catalog, and the catalog will tell you, well, one of the things that the catalog will tell you is that it will tell you where to find your book. So it will tell you, well, if you're looking for that book, that's the place where you should look. And so you find the book. That's the main use of the catalog, is to find back the book you're looking for. But it's not the only function of the catalog, because once you start to consulting the catalog, it will not only tell you where to find your book, but also what is the author. It will give you a summary of the book, maybe some publication dates, some reviews in the press, some popularity scores, and it will tell you, if you're interested in that book, there might be also that other book that could be interesting for you. So it will help you to enlarge, to enrich your search. It's not only finding back exactly what you're looking for, but also it will help you to get more out of it. Because if you're in your library, usually it's not only one book that is interesting, but everything that has to do with that book could also be interesting to you. That's really the function of the catalog in a library. Well, actually, what we are talking about now is about business intelligence. So if we're talking about business intelligence, if you are using Qlik, well, you have a lot of, well, in this case, it's not books, but it is QVD files, but actually it's the same idea. You have a lot of little items that are available in your organization, and they can be spread everywhere in different folders, in different structures. There might be QVDs about sales and QVDs about marketing and maybe about finance. And then within the finance, you might have some different subdivisions and so on. So it's not easy to find back your information. Of course, you have your Qlik dashboards, but these are predefined dashboards, and it's not really it doesn't really allow you to do self-service. If you go to a library, you would like to serve yourself to find your information back. And so, what are you going to do when you have when you're in an environment? Is also that you're going to use a catalog, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me focus a little bit about these QVDs. If you're familiar with Qlik, you will know that QVDs are actually a specific way to store store information that is ready to use for Qlik. So what will you find in a QVD? Well, of course, it's a specific format that is optimized to work in memory, because Qlik works in memory. But so it stores the information. That's the technical part of the QVD. But also, of course, the QVD can be shared among your own organization. You can have multiple dashboards that are using the same QVDs. You can have QVDs that are used within QlikView, but that are also used within QlikSense, or within one department or another department in different dashboards. The idea, of course, is that QVDs can very quickly be loaded into the memory, so that you can really quickly start to use them. So they're really ready to use. And of course, once you have built them in your organization, well, it would be very interesting if you could reuse them for other usages. So that means if you created a QVD to support a dashboard, a marketing dashboard, a standard marketing dashboard, for instance, or a standard sales dashboard, well, it would be very interesting if the marketing guy could do some analysis on a specific subject by using the same QVD. He will be using the same language as the official dashboards and the official reports that you have distributed. And at the other hand, he will also reuse all the transformation that you might have built before that will make the data available for him in an understandable format. He doesn't need to know the underlying data sources and databases. Also, you can have a lot of documentation that has been built around those QVDs. You could have tags about the subject that is in there, some descriptions, commentaries. So all these things are actually available, but not organized. So what we want to propose here is that you start to organize those things. So you have a lot of files, and what you're going to enable is actually to find back very quickly. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to find back very quickly the QVD you're looking for, not exactly the QVD you're looking for. You will find back the information that you're looking for, and the catalog will help you to find it quickly and to tell you, well, it is in this QVD and that QVD that you will find that information. So it's the speed of access that is important, but not only the speed of the access, but also the agility and autonomy. What we mean by that is that, well, a user is not necessarily a technical user, so he doesn't need to know what are the technical names of the fields or how we should combine the information together. The system should help him to do that. So the agility will help him also to modify something very quickly in something that exists. So that's the idea is really that a user can, in an autonomous way, find back his information without having to call IT to ask, can you create me a quick report on that information. Also, of course, QVDs are in a certain format, but you need to load them inside the report. You need to create graphs on that and things like that. So the catalog should make the information directly usable. It should be immediately usable. You don't have to wait to get access to it, but it will also should be proposed in a format that can be used by an end user. Another thing also is that you could have a lot of QVDs that are everywhere in your organization, but some QVDs are reloaded every day, but it could be that there was a technical problem and that it has not been reloaded for 1 week or for 1 month, so the data is outdated. Or it could be that when it loaded the data, there were some problems in the data, some data quality problems. So you need, of course, to have a way to assess, to understand how well the data is and how trustable it is. So we want, with a catalog, to provide trust in the data, that you know, as an end user, if I'm accessing that specific data set, that I know that it has been verified, that it can be trusted, that the data quality is okay. Also, well, as a marketing guy, for instance, you might know about the data set. You know that, well, if you're using this QVD, this data set, be careful, because this data set is only for a specific type of customers, only for big customers. So it's a big customer data set. So you want also the people, the business people who worked on those data sets to engage, to enrich the information that you will find in the catalog, so that they can help other users to understand what data they are working with. So that's also an important function that you have in the catalog. Another thing also is that you need to be able how to use the data. So if a QVD is made available, you need to have an explanation about, well, you know, this data contains this KPI, and that's how this KPI is calculated, and that's what it means, and it should only be combined with that dimension, because otherwise it has no signification. So actually, what are you doing? You're making the people data literate. You make them knowledgeable about the data. You help them to quickly understand the data. That's removing the barrier for data literacy, making sure that people without intensive training can understand the data very quickly. And of course, the last thing is that you could have a lot of QVDs spread everywhere, some that are already in production, some that are not in production, and actually you need to manage all this. And that's about how you can govern the data. You make sure, and that's, I think, one of the great things with the catalog is that you don't need IT to ask them to build little reports for you, but you need to have people within IT that can manage this, that can ensure that the data are reloaded in time, that can organize the information so that you can trust on all this data. So all these functions is what you're going to find in the Qlik catalog. So what we want to propose today is indeed to have a way to manage and reuse all the investment that you've already built in setting up the QVDs, but something that can also grow with the time. So you created a set of QVDs. Today you have Qlik View reports behind which you might have some QVDs, and you have Qlik Sense reports behind which you might have some QVDs. And tomorrow you will have more and more reports, and you want to keep track and keep all this set of data manageable. That's what we will propose with this catalog. So how is it going to work? Well, it will actually profile the data that is inside the QVD. So it will help you to understand what data you have. It will allow you to tag the data. For instance, that specific field is a sensitive data field and should not be made available to specific people. So you can manage security around a specific data set. You can also integrate those QVDs with other information, other data sources, and you want to make the access to the QVDs as easy as shopping on Amazon. That means that, well, actually, you just wander through the catalog, select what you want, click on a button, and you can start use them. That's really the idea. You can push them, of course, and you can use them within Qlik. That's the main purpose. But if you want, for instance, to select some of the data, it's typical, for instance, for marketing guys who want to select a set of data and then do some analysis, some advanced analysis and data clustering or more advanced things with it. Well, you can just publish a set of QVDs and publish them to a system where you can work on advanced analytics or other BI tools. So all this will be made possible using Qlik Catalog. Now we're talking about Qlik Catalog. A small word about this product. So you have Qlik Catalog is really something that is available in the data preparation and data integration. and that is not limited to Qlik data and QVDs. Today, we are going to focus on QVDs. So actually, we are going to use this technology of Qlik Catalog that is broader, that is wide, specifically for the use case of QVDs. But of course, the same solution, the same product can be used for a wider set of front ends and for a wider set of data sources. We will focus now on how you can use this technology that is very rich to actually organize what you already have set up within a Qlik environment. I think I showed enough slides, so let's move to a demonstration. So I will take a quite maybe an interesting use case that you might have encountered in the last months, because we were going through. Oops, it shouldn't not change that. Sorry about that. Let me just move to a demonstration. So one of the things I want to explain is a specific situation that you could have in the last months. Let's assume you are an organization that is selling products, and well, as you know, with the COVID situation and the lockdown that we've had, well, most of the shops where you're going to sell those products were closed for a few months. So of course, if you want to analyze the sales, you will find out that the data is going down, the sales data is going down in the last months. Now, one of the things, of course, is that people, because they were in lockdown, they started to use more and more internet shopping and web shopping. So as a sales guy, I would like to understand now, well, what was the impact of this? We do have an e-commerce website where we sell our products next to our regular sales through our shops, and that specific website is. I would like to analyze that sales more specifically. So you're seeing now a blue screen. It's perfectly normal because I haven't started the demo yet. So let me show you. The first screen I would like to show you is actually the catalog. So as a sales guy, I would like to get an understand. So to understand the sales that we did on our website. But the problem is that all my standard reports are about sales in our shops. But I do have access to a catalog. What you see here is a catalog. So it contains, in fact, all the data that are behind my standard reports, but also behind the specific reports that were built by marketing guys. I know that we have a new project on e-commerce, and that there is a team that is working on that project, and they have also a lot of data sets already available about how they sold their e-commerce, but they are not in my standard reports. So as a sales guy, I would like now to actually to get an understanding about those specific e-commerce things. So of course, I could have a look here at what happens in the catalog. So if you connect to the catalog, it will show you all the QVDs that are available in the organization. You see, you have a lot of QVDs, and you will never browse a catalog like I'm doing right now by going one by one through all the QVDs that are available. What you're going to do in a catalog is that you're going to search like you would do in a library. You're going to type something to search some and to find back the information. So in this case, you see that you have a lot of QVDs. I'm interested, for instance, in QVDs about sales. So if I type sales, actually it will filter already my catalog only with QVDs of sales. So I have still a lot because there is a lot about sales. So maybe it's not enough to talk about sales. Let's look about my customers. I would like to see something about my customers. So I type customers, and I will find more limited information that is only for customers. But I have information about sales management. I have information about a workshop. I have information about consumer goods, which is a different department. And actually, if I go over those different QVDs, I will see some details about what it is. So this is about customer active on internet website. Oh, that's good. That's what I'm looking for. But I see also that I have information about products. I have other customers here, but these are more probably about our regular sales. So if I want to focus on my, I'm not interested in customers. I'm interested in numbers. So let me find out, well, what are all the orders that happens here. So it will focus here on my orders, but I would be interested more specifically. Let me filter a little bit, and I would be interested in the e-commerce. So I'm selecting the e-commerce here, and now I have, let me check. So by selecting the e-commerce, I now have a more smaller set of QVDs that are specifically for my internet sales. Oh, that's good. Now let's look at indeed the customers that we have. These are, if I look here, the customers that are active on our internet website with personal details. Okay, that's interesting. Let's have a look at this data set here, the customer data set. I have a lot of information in my catalog about this data set. So there is a description, of course. There are some tags that will help me to find back this data set specifically. I know when it has been created. It's a pretty recent data set. And you see that you have 3 KPIs that are also giving me information about how reliable this data set is, how often it has been used. It's 100% operational, so that means it has been reloaded very recently. So that's already interesting. It's not a very big data set because it's just a set of customers, but it's, well, popularity will tell me, for instance, that other people are using this data set. So if I have a small popularity, not many people are using it. If I have a big popularity, it's used in many dashboards and many reports, and even through self-service. Interesting. I can also have a look at what I find inside this data set. So see, I have information about city IDs. It will give me also some information, some data profiling. What is the highest value, the lowest value? Here, for instance, email addresses, it's alphabetical, but if there are some other values, how many lines do I have there? Or I can even look into some sample data. So if I click on sample data, it will actually take a representative sample, so not a top 10 or something like that, a really representative, varied sample set of the data to really understand what this data is about, which I can export if I want to analyze it. So this will give me a good understanding about this data set. Okay, I can even look here at the lineage to see where this data come from, how it has been loaded, and so on. So what we have about this data set is also all the information that can be taken automatically from the QVD file, because you have a lot of information that you will find in that QVD file, when it has been loaded, what QlikSense application has created the QVD, how many lines are there, and so on and so forth. So all this information is, of course, captured automatically by the catalog. But more than that also, and that's maybe the most interesting element, is that it will show you all the other related data sets with this data set. For instance, here I'm looking at customers, but I see that for the customers, I have also a description of the cities in which those customers live. That could be interesting. So let me select the customers, but also the cities in which this customer lives, and everything that those customers have ordered in the last month. So let me also select the order. So I will add those 3 sets here: customers, the cities where they live, and the order header to my cart. It's like shopping. You see that now in my cart I have those 3 data sets. Now let me go a bit further, because the order header, what does it contain? I would like to know what it is. So I click on order header. So I'm now going into another data set in which I will see other information. I can also again look at a more detailed sample set of this of the orders that about these customers. And I see also that this order header, next to being linked with the customer, will also get some information about the salesperson who did the sales. Maybe some time information could be interesting, so I'll take this one. And also the details, it's probably what exactly this customer has ordered. So I will add those 3 also to my cart. I now have selected 6 QVDs, and that are all related to each other. That's what the catalog told me. So now I would like to view some data about these QVDs. So I can take an action here based on this, what I put in my cart. Let's take an action, and of course I can push that for further analysis to an advanced analytics system, but I will now push it to QlikSense because I'm an end user. I want to analyze that within QlikSense. So it's pushing the data towards Qlik Sense, and it's automatically creating a Qlik Sense application based on those QVDs. So the only thing I need to do now, if I select Insights, for instance, is to look what information is available in these QVDs. And Qlik Sense, through Insights, will help me. It will say, well, would you be interested in the total quantity? Okay, let's take the total quantity. I have here a comparison of all the sales representatives based on the total sales amount. Oh, that's an interesting one. So I'll add that one also. I have a geographical analysis of my customers. See where my customers are distributed. That could be an interesting one also. A split by region. Oh, that could be interesting also. Let me add this one. Okay, that's fine. A radar sheet here about the total sales amount by sales rep, how they are split by region. Okay, good. That's good, but I have information about my sales rep, but I don't see any cost information here. Actually, I would like to see if my sales reps are also cost effective. So I would be interested in the cost by sales rep. So I'll type here cost by sales rep, and the system will actually analyze the data and propose me other visuals. Oh, you are interested in the cost? Here's a division by sales rep of the cost, or maybe a contribution to the cost. Oh, that could be an interesting one. So let me add this one to my sheet. And that's all I need to do. If I now go back to my sheet, well, I just selected a few data elements from my QVDs purely in self-service. And now I can start analyzing, making selections. I can make selections in whatever visual I have. I want to look into the map only to Europe, so I can focus on specific data and start analyzing in Qlik. So you see, it's really to have the speed. I started from the catalog, and now I'm starting to look into the books that the catalog showed me. Now, as I said before, the catalog allows me indeed to do a first research. Then I start looking in my books. That's what I do here. But when you're in a library, when you start looking in the books, well, you find something interesting in the books. For instance, here I see, oh, that's interesting. I have, for a specific group of customer in Europe, I see that my cost is going up, and that I have a concentration on specific locations. Now, I would like to understand why I have that concentration on specific location, but for that, I would need to have more details about the actual products that those customer has bought. Now, the problem, I didn't select any product data set. So I have my sales, I have my sales orders, but I don't have product information. So I would like to enrich what my first analysis that I have here with some more QVDs where I would find information about products. So how can I do that? Well, in Qlik, you have the self-service directly from the Qlik Sense. So I'm selecting here, I will click here on the data manager, and the data manager is actually giving access to the QVDs that you were the different QVDs that you were connected to, and we're going now to add some more details, some more data. So I clicked on the Add button, and you see that the QVD catalog is also available directly from within Qlik Sense. So if I click on the QVD catalog, I'm back to the catalog where I was before. Now I'm interested in product information, so let me search for product. If I type product, it will show me all the QVDs about products. So we'll find, I see here a products table, a product table. But actually, I would be, of course, interested in a product that is tagged for e-commerce. So we'll select e-commerce. Okay, by selecting e-commerce, these are the products that are specific for e-commerce. Oh, interesting. I have a data set about products, but I also have a data set about clusters that have been built on those products. So which product is sold with which other product. That's a marketing guy who did some analysis on the product, and with his artificial intelligence tool, he just created some automatic clusters. So it might be interesting also to keep those, to take advantage of those clusters. So I select those two QVDs. I click on next. And now what it's going to do, it's going to add, you see, the two additional clusters there, and I can just link them together to my different my different data set. I can load the data information, and then it's going to add. Okay, here we are. If now we go back to the insights, we can now just add information about my product. So I would now like to see the sales by product. Oh, I see a product category. That's interesting. I'll take the sales by product category. And now I have, since I added the QVD about products, I now have my sales by product category that I can add in my same data analysis sheet. Now I've added information about the product category within the same dashboard. So you see, we started from the catalog, we moved towards Qlik Sense. From Qlik Sense, we get back to the catalog, and we could add also some additional information. So that's to illustrate one of the examples of how you could use this Qlik Catalog. Good. Now let's go back to the presentation. So I will show you the presentation again. So we were in the demo. I go in presentation modes, slideshow. There we are. So what have we seen? What have we seen in this presentation? I've shown you in the beginning how you could go through a catalog, find the QVDs you are interested in, and then publish them to Qlik. And then also from within Qlik Sense, how you could consult the catalog and actually add the data directly to your application. That's what I've shown you in the demo. And the product that is behind is called Qlik Catalog. So the Qlik Catalog is really a solution that will help you to organize, to secure your data also, because you can define who will get access to which QVD, of course, and also if you have some sensitive information, which information is sensitive. For instance, I would some names or some personal information can be obfuscated, so that when people are using it, they don't see the detailed information, but they can still use the QVD. These are things you can do with the catalog. Then also one of the things that you can do is that you can enrich the catalog with additional data. You can prepare the data. So it really helps you to do a lot of things. You can search through the data. You can browse by selecting one of the QVDs and see what is in it. You can activate self-service by pushing them towards so by adding them to the carts and pushing them to like in a shop to your dashboards. So all these capabilities are coming with Qlik Catalog. What is important in there is what the added value that you get there, of course, is that your data is ready to go. It's can directly be used. If you need to use this QVD in a different way, so if you don't have the catalog, you would need to know where the QVD is, how you can select them. So you will need access to a folder, and you need to understand which QVD to use. So here you are fully in self-service mode. So instead of waiting for IT to build a data set and send it to you, and to build a dashboard on top of that, in which you might have to wait several months before you get what you're asking for, well, just in minutes, with a few clicks, you get the information by yourself. Also, because you know information about the data, how trustable it is, what is the data quality, it will make also the data much more trustworthy. So instead of having a big burden how to manage the data, well, it's not an obstacle anymore. It's really enabling people to use them. You really go through towards the enablement and the added value that you can have for that. So that's what you get from Qlik Catalog. We start from all your data. We build a catalog, and on top of that catalog, you will find the ability to actually use them in a marketplace in self-service mode towards what you want to achieve. Now there are 3 steps in there that I would like to quickly highlight. The first one is actually the integration of QVDs. So Qlik Catalog will help you to really scan through all the QVDs that you have in an automatic way, and it will take those QVDs and add them automatically to the catalog. So this is really an automated process. You will gain a lot of time by doing this by configuring your catalog to scan the appropriate QVD folders. By doing that, your catalog will directly show a lot of information that is already present in the QVDs, because you have already some metadata that is available in QVD. Now that's the first step, but as we said, you might have some marketing people or some sales people that know about those data sets and that would like also to help other employees to better understand them. And that's where you go to the next step, which is the enrichment of the catalog. The enrichment of the catalog is really how you can add some additional information to that. So one of the things you have with enrichment is that, again, from within the same interface, which is the web interface that you have in Catalog, you can directly enrich the data set. So this will allow a user that has access to the catalog to actually define himself what he want to add, and this process is really quick and it's immediate. Let me show you a very quick example of that. If I'm entering the catalog, I have the Discover button here that will allow me to look into the sets of QVDs that are made available. For instance, here I have a set of QVDs here about car sales, and I would like to enrich this catalog by adding here data about car sales for our different shops. So I can add information about description. I can add a tag here about, for instance, I will add car sales and maybe also some service. So you can add information by yourself. You can combine information. You can add comments. You just click on save and close. And now if you go to catalog and you search for what you just typed, it's directly available. So I typed in service, and I will find the data sets in which I just tagged service. So it is immediate. As soon as I add something, it's directly available, and it goes very quickly because the technology that you have behind is an optimized technology. So you really, it has been designed to work as a catalog, and it is very robust also. You just have to add those things and you will get directly a usable solution. So that's about the enrichment of the catalog. Of course, you can enrich it in several different ways. And then once you have enriched it, the idea, of course, is that you can make the catalog available to a broader group of users who have a secured access to this catalog and who can use it like with shopping. And that's what we showed in the first demo. I select a catalog, I add them to my cart, and based on that, I have the availability to the possibility to go through all the QVDs and to view them also within Qlik Sense. Also, one of the last thing that we have shown was that it was directly integrated in Qlik Sense. So the idea here is that indeed you have the information from within Qlik Sense. If you're used also to use the self-service capability of Qlik Sense, well, you can leverage also all those QVDs, which is much more easy than having to browse folders and search for those QVDs or browse through different data sets that are not documented. So that's in a nutshell what we have presented today. Now, of course, we can go beyond those QVDs. If you want to go beyond those QVDs, well, we could also enrich the catalog with other data sets. So we can connect to big data, we can connect to files, to mainframes, to whatever you want. There we come with the full Qlik Catalog product. So until now, we were talking about the Qlik Catalog for QVD, but it's the same technology. So you can, for instance, start with Qlik Catalog for QVD, and after some time, go and evolve to a broader usage of this catalog, in which you could enrich it with all the different possible data sets, mainframes, files, Hadoop, BigQuery, whatever you want. And you can also use it to push it towards other solutions, so not only to Qlik Sense, but also to other reporting tools, to databases, to data for data scientists, to more advanced analytics solutions. So actually you have the same functionality, but again, in which you have this data profiling, this data trustworthy, the KPIs to understand that. That's what you can do also beyond the QVDs. What is important also when you set up a catalog is that you define the right roles within your organization. You could have people that have a role of enriching the catalog, ensuring that the data is validated, ensuring that the data is of the appropriate quality. That's more the role also of the data steward. So you have a more technical person who will bring new technical assets. You have the data steward who is actually documenting the data and making sure that it's available. And then, of course, you have the consumer, that are people that are actually consume information in the catalog. So as a last point for those that are a little more technical to understand how this all fits in an infrastructure, well, you have what we have shown today. So on the left, you have the different data sets. In this case, it's the QVD. They will be all captured and automated on a Qlik Catalog server. It's a server that is running on a Linux environment. That's what it makes it also very efficient for cataloging and consulting, because there is a very slow overhead behind, very small overheads, and also it will help you also to connect to different cloud platforms, Hadoop, so it can run really on in the cloud or on premise. You will also be able to connect it, for instance, if you are using data governance tools that manage data quality, or if you already have some glossaries about KPIs and things like that, you can connect the catalog to those tools also, so that you can make the link between all the data that you have captured in your QVDs and the actual glossaries. And of course, you can push them then towards different data warehouses or towards your Qlik Sense application using a self-service BI. So that's how it fits in a global architecture model. Good. I think it's time to conclude, because we're heading towards the end of our presentation. So in a nutshell, what we shown today is about the catalog for QVDs. We know that it can be done broader, but that was the focus of today. And well, the big difference is that instead of understanding those files and playing around with those by navigating through folders, you will have like a shopping-like experience, like shopping on Amazon. You can select the QVDs, and of course, having them all together in a catalog will give you a better governance, will allow you to enrich the metadata in an intelligent way, will allow you to integrate it completely into Qlik Sense so that you can push towards it. It will help you also to discover the data later on that is hidden in all your QVDs directly within Qlik Sense without needing to have someone in between that builds things for you. And of course, as a next step, it will allow you also to extend that with all the data that you have in your organization. Good. This brings us to maybe a small Q&A session. Edwin, I don't know if you had received some questions about the session.
Yeah, definitely. I'll start with two questions that are very similar. So one is, somebody asks, what is the process to have a QVD published in Qlik Catalog? And then a question related to that. We have some QVDs that are in test and should not be used yet. How can we make sure they're only included if and when we want it, i.e. when they are production ready?
Yes, indeed. That's a very good question, because I think we have many customers that are in that case where they have indeed they're working on published dashboards in which you have, of course, official QVDs behind, and then they're working on new dashboards and new data sets that are not validated yet or that are not yet published. Of course, you would not want an end user that is accessing catalog to access work in progress data, so it needs to be published. And indeed, making the link with the first question, how actually are we going to add this information inside the catalog? Let me go back here to the catalog. Well, actually, the way you do that, so you see all those QVDs that you see here in the catalog. They are actually synchronized from within the Qlik Sense environments that have created the QVDs. So actually, how you define that? Well, it's a very simple way to do that. If you're a bit familiar with Qlik, you have the Qlik Management Console, in which you have all the things that you can manage. And one of the things you can manage in the Qlik Management Console is the data connections. And actually, the only thing you need to do to make sure that the catalog is combining or is taking the QVDs into the catalog is by adding the tag QVD catalog to a specific connection. So for instance, here in this environment, I have my consumer goods and my cars source that is tagged as QVD catalog, and that's why I found those QVDs in the catalog. But I have another project that is running that is called Carelios, in which I have a lot of QVDs, but it's still work in progress. So I would like not to publish that yet to the catalog. So you see, you have no tag here that is available. As soon as the project is published, I just need to double click here and to add the appropriate tag here to be QVD catalog. And by doing that, if I apply this, now this data will be automatically added in my catalog. So it's the only thing you need to do. So this can be managed very easily based on, so if you have production ready data, not production ready data, you can manage that in a central way. I think that answered the question.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Jean-Francois. Then I got the following one. In the discovery mode of QVDs, does it take into account the data model? For example, if one measure or dimension cannot be selected together with one other.
Yes, so the data model behind, actually, if we go back to the catalog, if I take, for instance, here my header information, if I look into what is behind, the actual data model that is behind is referenced here within the catalog through the related entities. So it will actually take into account if there is a link between the customer and the order. So if the customers are actually linked to can be combined, the customer dimension can be combined to the orders, you will find this information described here within the catalog. So it will give insight to the user about which data sets can be used together. And also it will automatically take over these links. So if I push both data sets towards Qlik Sense, he will actually make also this association. So the relationship that is available within the data sets can actually be the catalog can help you to understand that.
Okay, thank you. And next question we have is, can we enrich the catalog with a development data set?
I
don't know whether that question is clear to you. It is not to me, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well, maybe it links to one of the first question, which is you have a development environment and you have a production set of QVDs. So if you have a development data set, you can actually reference a QVD. And one of the things also is, if you look here at if I click here on Discover, you will see that I have multiple sources. So I could have a specific source here that is development source, and that is only available to specific users. So that means that I could have a production catalog that is deployed for end users, and I can have a development catalog that is actually available, and that combines the production catalog with the development sources included, so that the catalog can already be used by developers once they so they can also start to enter. So because everything that you see here in the source can be documented, you can add the business description, you can add tags. So all these things can already be done in development mode, and it's only done when you want to publish this specific data source that has been added, that you can make them available through security towards the whole group. The way security works, by the way, is between users and groups, and it can take over, for instance, the Active Directory groups that you have in your organization. So you can very easily push towards specific group of people, specific sets of QVDs, and specific sets of information.
Okay, thank you. A next question we have is it possible to tag data using hierarchies, i.e. taxonomies, rather than simple tags?
So you have different ways to implement hierarchies. Now, inherently tags are something that are cross hierarchy. So that means you can create a tag at several levels, and it will bring together the things. But if there is a need to work with hierarchies, it's not tags that you're going to use, but you will be able to create a specific hierarchy inside your sources. For instance, I have a source, a finance source, but within my finance source, I have some QVDs that are for instance, only for HR finance, and other QVDs that are not for HR finance. I can create some sub hierarchies and sub components within there. So you will be able to create a source hierarchy The same with data sets. I can also create a data set hierarchy. So there are different ways to organize, and these will then cross together with the tags. The tags specifically are really cross hierarchy, but you would have also hierarchies to organize your data sets and your QVDs.
Okay. Then a question: can we combine QVDs generated from QlikView and QlikSense?
Yeah, that's a good question. Also, as you know, QVDs can be used by both products, QlikView and QlikSense. And actually, the only thing you need to add a QVD to the catalog is actually to reference the folder where your QVD is located. So you can perfectly add to the catalog QVDs that are used within QlikView, and also QVDs that are used both within QlikView and QlikSense. And actually, the metadata that you have within the QVD will tell you what application has generated this QVD. So if the QVD has been generated by a QlikView application, it will be referenced as such in the catalog. If it has been generated by a QlikSense application, it will be referenced as such also. So it will help you also to find back your information in an intelligent way. So the short answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. Then I got two questions that are related. So the first is, how is the confidentiality of certain data managed? And then another person asks, which is in the same domain, is it possible to define access levels on QVDs, meaning sensitive data not visible to all?
Yes. So indeed, based on security, you can do several things. One of the things you can do inside a specific data set, if you look inside for instance, here I look at my customer data set. If I go deeper, I might have some fields that are more sensitive. For instance, I would not want to publish the email address of my customers publicly or to all the users within the organization. So you can actually, for each field that you have there, you can specify specific properties, and one of the things you can do is obfuscate the data, so to ensure that specific data cannot so a data is scrambled. So the obfuscation methods are actually that you can hash, so replace the email address by a hash. What is a hash? It's a different set of characters, but that remain the same each time you use the same mail address. So you don't use your length. If you're using the same mail address or the same customer, it will still be the same hash key, but you don't know, you don't have the details. So that's about obfuscation. So that's one of the things you can define directly in data in Qlik Catalog. What you can also do, of course, is that what you will always also have is that you will leverage the section access that is defined inside QlikSense. So that means that if you're going to push that towards QlikSense, push your QVDs, the way when you add a data set inside your cart and then you push it towards QlikSense, it will actually use your user to generate the QlikSense dashboard, which means that it will also apply. It will also be able to apply data level security if needed.
Okay, and then maybe a last question. Until other people have still questions, you can still post it. But a last one I got is, there are percentages in Qlik Catalog with different colors. What do they mean, and how are they calculated? So are they automatically calculated or manually? That was the question specifically.
Yeah, so they are automatically calculated based on what the system is going to find in the QVDs. If you're interested in the detailed description of each KPI, you will find it in the help file of Qlik Catalog. It's quite well explained. So you see here you have 3 different KPIs. You have the operational KPI. That's one that says how often this KPI is reloaded. So if you have a frequent reload, it will be a high number. If you have a less frequent reload, it will be a lower number. It's not only the reload times, but also the reload frequency, how old the data is, and things like that. So that's the operational KPI. The size is obvious. It's how big your QVD is. So it will allow you to compare QVDs with each other. And the popularity is how much this QVD is used from the catalog. So it can be that it is very often published towards Qlik Sense application, so how popular it is used. So it gives you an indication of your data. Now, if you go further and enlarge it with other types of data sets, we can also add a different KPI, which is the data quality KPI, which could be interesting, in which we're going to assess how much bad records you have when you load the data. Of course, with QVDs, normally your QVDs are already clean, so you don't have bad records inside your QVD, so it's not pertinent in this case. But if you're really loading data from text files, from Hadoop files, then it will also analyze the quality of your data, and so you will have a data quality indicator.
Okay, thank you, Jean-Francois. I see we are 5 past the hour, so I would like to conclude the webinar. Thank you all for your attention. If you have further questions or would like to go more in depth or test the product in your environment, please get in touch with us. You can just send an email at contact@agelos.com or contact us through the website. So thank you all for your attention and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.